Hey y'all, one thing that I learned from the legacy of my granny Eva Mae is that good food doesn't have to be complicated and it doesn't have to take a long time to make. Here I'm going to show you how I make my fudge cookie bars or squares, whatever you want to call them. I like this dessert because you can also change it up a little bit. You can add white chocolate chips if you want. You can use butterscotch, whatever kind of flavor. So this is quick and easy to make. First, you're going to start off with 2 sticks of softened butter. You want to let that sit out a little bit so it's soft. I used to have to stir this up by hand before I got the stand mixer. This makes it really easy to use. So you want to go ahead and let that churn up. It's going to turn out to look kind of like ice cream. Then you're going to add 2 cups of flour. Then you're also going to add 1 cup of sugar. Then a pinch of sea salt. Then you're going to go ahead and start mixing that up really well until it just crumbles. You don't want it to turn into a dough ball. That's what's important here. You just want to incorporate that butter with the flour, sugar, and salt mixture and create a whole bunch of little crumbles, but definitely don't make it turn into a dough ball. Once you get that stirred up nice and well, then you're going to go ahead and butter out your pan. I like to use one that's kind of long. It just depends on how thick you want your squares to be. And so this one works really nice. And go ahead and get that all buttered up. I use the butter flavored Crisco to grease the pan. Once your pan is greased nice and well, then you're going to take 3/4 of that mixture and go ahead and spread it out into your pan. Again, you don't want to use it all. You have to have some for the topping, and you don't want it to be a dough ball. And so I'm just smoothing it out here, and then I'm using my fingertips to kind of pat that down in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be solid, but you just want to press that down into the pan. Then you're going to take it to an oven that was preheated to 350 degrees, and I put that in there for about 10 minutes to let it par bake. Here I'm going to go ahead and start my fudge mixture. So I use 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, and I turn that fire on to a low heat. To that I'm going to add a bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips. I like semi-sweet instead of milk chocolate so that it doesn't get too sweet, and then a splash of vanilla, maybe about a teaspoon of that. And you're going to want that to cook down until all of the chocolate chips are nice and smooth, and you just continue to stir it around until it looks something like this. While the crust is continuing to par bake, you can go ahead and make your topping. To the remainder of the dough crust that I have, I added in some mini semi-sweet chocolate chips, and this time I used pecans. Sometimes I use walnuts, but I had pecans in the cabinet, and that's what I decided to use. This is what your crust should look like after it was par baked for about 10 minutes. You're then going to go ahead and pour over all of that chocolate. Make sure you get all of it out of the pan, and you want to smooth it out until it looks something like this. And then next you're going to take your topping and spread it out evenly over the top of your cookie bars. And so you're going to use all the rest of it and get it nice and smooth. After that, you're going to put it back in the oven for about 30 minutes. Once that cooks for 30 minutes, you need to let it sit and cool. You can check the bottom to make sure it's brown. And there you have it, some delicious fudge cookie bars. I hope you enjoy making this, and don't be afraid to switch those flavors up. Enjoy.